Amy Sandler is in the house along with Nicki Quasney. How are you doing today, Nicki?
I'm doing good. Really good. Thanks for having us.
And Nicki, you look really good for having had chemotherapy on Wednesday, okay?
Thank you.
I mean, I know that we weren't sure if you were going to be able to make it, but you look like you want to go, run and jump right now.
Right. No, I feel really good, so it's a good day.
Is it how does the rhythm go when you have the chemotherapy?
Well,
is there good days and bad days?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I had chemotherapy about 2.5 years ago, so it kind of accumulates over time. So I'm only on my second infusion Wednesday, so I have 10 more to go. So I think over time it'll get a little bit, probably harder. But you caught me at a good time. So.
All right, good. Yeah, there's a lot of smiles this morning.
Okay. Sure.
All right. How all of this comes to our attention was Jerry Davidge says I think he's on today here on 9:05 on the Veterans Show. They're talking about some sort of veterans issue, but he does an article about you guys trying to get a family discount at Fitness Point in Munster. Now, who wants to tell that story?
I'll tell it. Yeah, sure. We moved to Munster, and I've always, both of us really, always been members of gyms ever since when I was in college. I worked out a lot. Amy was a college athlete, and then in Washington D.C. we moved to various places, St. Louis, Nevada. I've always had a gym membership, and for the majority of the time, Amy has too. But I've always had one, and when we've had one together, we've always been able to get a family membership, meaning that there's always a little bit of a discount for, if you join with your significant other, usually, if you're married or if you are, in a civil union or if you are just in a relationship, they often give a discount. They don't even, go into detail and research things like, are you married or do you have a civil union? It's never even been an issue. And so when we moved to Munster, obviously, I wanted to join a gym, and the one we wanted to join is only about 1.5 miles from our house. So there was no other reason to even look anywhere else. This gym is really new. It's a great gym, as people that work there and have been there know. Fitness Point. So Amy, I didn't go, but Amy went, and if you want to pick it up here, she was the one that went over to Fitness Point to kind of get details about joining the gym as a couple.
Yeah, so I just walked in, and then I asked if, what you normally ask, is there a week where you can experiment? And they said yes, and then I said, do you have a family membership type plan? And they said yes, and I said, okay, so can you tell me more about that? And I said, because that's what would be interested in. And they said, yeah, well, you need to be married. And I said, okay, well, would a civil union hold up? And they said, you need to be married. And I said, well, we have a civil union license. And she said, no, you have to be married. And so I said, well, there's no marriage here. It's the equivalent. And in fact, in the state of Illinois, civil union is equivalent to marriage, except in name. So she said no. And then that was when I found out who the director of the club was, and I made a phone call to him. And he actually, again, reiterated no. I asked him if he said it was a policy of community hospital. And so I asked if he could contact human resources at community hospital, and he said he would, and he would get back to me, and he did, and he got back to me, and he said that the community hospital this is the community hospital policy. And so I said, would they be willing to reevaluate it? And they said not at this time. They feel that it's fine. And that was when I said, okay, well then I'm going to possibly be contacting the local media about this. And his response to me was, is that a threat? And I said, no, it's not a threat. I cannot believe that you would be denying us a family membership to a gym. And it's like, I just couldn't believe it. I was shocked, and it absolutely wasn't a threat. But I thought at that point it was important to raise awareness.
How did you feel at the time when he told you that?
I kind of was surprised, honestly, because we have, Nicki said that it hasn't been a problem. There was one fitness center where they had a similar policy, and then we wrote a letter. They wrote us back, absolutely, you too can join. So I was a little surprised that in our 11 years together, and we haven't lived necessarily in the most progressive areas until we moved to Chicago. I think they've been all red states except for the first 5 years of our relationship on the East Coast. So I was a little surprised. I think I don't get angry or mad because we've been experiencing these kinds of things and seen others experience these kinds of things over the years. So I was just sort of taken back, I guess.
Now, let's analyze that situation. Alexis and I both live in Munster, and they just had an election. It was entirely
I was
Republican.
gonna say, well, not only is it a red state, it's a red town as well.